Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. If you are new, my name is Kaya and I own a rental property here in Austin, Texas. And today I really wanted to talk about how much money I made in the past 12 months doing Airbnb and how much of it I actually took home as profit. So for a little backstory on my Airbnb, it is located in East Austin, which is a really hot up and coming area in Austin, Texas. It is very close to downtown, which means that I get a lot of bachelor parties, birthday parties, bachelorette parties. So because my property is closer to downtown, I am able to charge a bit more than a typical Airbnb that you would find in central Austin or that kind of thing because it is so close to downtown. Location is everything when it comes to group parties that want to stay at an Airbnb. So that's kind of my logic and how I price things out. In terms of how I price things, I actually use this really great tool called Price Labs, which allows you to do dynamic pricing and it's all automated. So I will occasionally check into the property pricing and kind of adjust it based on what I see other comps in the area doing. But that being said, a lot of my property is completely automated. So there's not a lot of day-to-day that I have to do in terms of guest communication and monitoring the pricing. If y'all want me to do a video all about Airbnb automations, let me know in the comments down below and give this video a thumbs up so I know to film it, because I think that's actually a really interesting video and it's something that I didn't necessarily know right off the bat, but I've gone through a bunch of apps and a bunch of websites and I found the best of the best. So anyway, let's get into this video. I won't hold you in suspense any longer. So in the past 12 months of doing Airbnb, I have made very close, I have my laptop right here, which is why I'm looking right here. I have made very close to $50,000. To be exact, I made $49,864. That is money that is in my payouts in Airbnb. It's not like what the guest pays because obviously Airbnb does take a fee from that. So this is like money that went into my business bank account. Now, $50,000, that's quite a lot of money and I'm pretty proud of that. If you want to look at it on like a per month basis, it's about $4,100 per month. Just as an FYI, on my worst month doing Airbnb, that was September of last year, so September of 2021, I did $2,700. And in my best month of Airbnb, which was actually this month of March 22, I did $8,900. Austin is a very seasonal dictated kind of city. Like we have a lot of big events that happen in the city. So March is a huge heavy hitter for Airbnb because we have South by Southwest that happens. And I believe there's also some racing event that happened at Circuit of the Americas. So again, like I said, my Airbnb is really close to downtown. So I had a ton of people staying for South by Southwest, and obviously you can charge a ton of money during that because all of the properties in the area also really jack their prices up. I believe my nightly rate during South by was around $500 to $600. And for some weekend pricing, it was a little bit more. Now you may be thinking, okay, Kaya, that's all well and good. Like you made $50,000, like that's incredible. That's like a full-time job basically. No, actually, it's not, because there are a lot of operational expenses that go into doing Airbnb, and my take home is actually shockingly low. So let's go through some math right now. I have a spreadsheet open right here, so I'm just gonna walk you through all of the expenses that are associated with doing Airbnb. And I think this is gonna be really important because when I started doing Airbnb, I didn't really know, like I had an idea of what some expenses would be, but there were some expenses that totally took me off guard. So if you're watching this video and you're thinking about starting Airbnb in Austin, take note. So straight off the bat, there's a huge expense that comes out of the Airbnb kind of business bank account every single month, and that is the mortgage. Now for my property that was acquired in 2019, at the beginning of 2019, so before the pandemic, before the Austin real estate market like blew up, my mortgage for the Airbnb property is $2,500 a month. So that comes out to $30,000 per year. Then you have utilities, which obviously you have to pay every single month. You can't expect Airbnb guests to pay it every month. Sorry, that was really loud. So I estimated that I spent about $200-ish average per month, and that comes out to $2,400 per year. Then you have what is arguably the worst part of doing Airbnb in Austin, Texas, which is hotel occupancy taxes. Now you can do things the illegal way and just simply not get a license for short-term rentals in Austin. I won't comment on that, but I personally do have a license, which means that I pay hotel occupancy tax to the state of Texas and also to the city of Austin. State of Texas takes 6% and the city of Austin takes 11%, which is a lot, which means that the total tax amount that I have to pay to Austin and Texas is 17%. Now, when I said that my kind of gross revenue for the past 12 months was $50,000, that is including the tax amount. So the way that Airbnb kind of works is that the guest pays the taxes and then I pass on that tax amount to the governments, respectively. So although $50,000 sounds like a huge number, it's not actually that much bigger because about 8,500 of that 50,000 is money that I never get to keep because I pass it on to the city of Austin government and the state of Texas government. So like I said, hotel occupancy tax, 17% in Austin, Texas, that's $8,500 a year. And then also, oh wait, there's more. You also have cleaning fees. Again, you should never pay for cleaning yourself. The guest should always pay for cleaning with Airbnb. However, in Austin, labor is becoming more and more expensive and it is increasingly difficult to find cleaning teams and maid services that will do cleaning for inexpensive. Even though you're giving them a huge volume, it's very expensive to find cleaning services here in Austin. So that's just one thing to keep in mind. My maid service charges $97 for cleaning and I charge the guests $99. So it's like a pass-through kind of fee. I get the $99 and then I pass it on to the maid service that I work with. That ends up being $5,000 total, and I base that number off of the number of reservations that I had. Then we also have a trash collection fee, and I'm strictly speaking about the labor to bring the trash bins from the garage to the street, trash gets picked up, and then from the street back to the garage. I personally, I'm a very busy lady and I don't have time to sit there every single Thursday bringing the trash out and then every single Friday bringing the trash back in. Like, I don't have time for that. The goal is to have as much automated as possible, so I outsourced. I personally outsourced that part of the equation to my maid service and they charge $27 total to bring the cans out and bring them back in. So that ends up being $1,400 a year for just the trash service. So when you look at all of that, let me calculate it really fast. All the expenses, including mortgage, utilities, hotel occupancy tax, cleaning fees, trash fees, I'm not even including if a guest breaks something, if I have to replace something. I recently renovated the Airbnb and repainted every single interior wall in the Airbnb. I'm not including any of that. I'm strictly talking about operational expenses that I have to do to keep the business running at the very minimum. All of that comes out to $47,000. And if you remember, I said that I made $50,000 last year, or sorry, in the last 12 months. That means that my profit is around $2,500 for the past 12 months, which is not very good. Now, there are two ways of looking at this. You can look at it from a property equity building standpoint, and you can also look at it from a business standpoint. When you look at it from a property equity standpoint, that's a year that my mortgage was paid that I didn't have to pay for. All of the guest reservations paid for the mortgage. So while it is a really sad bottom line in terms of like business-minded thinking, it's still great because my property in East Austin is still rapidly appreciating. To be totally transparent with you and just share some rough numbers, we acquired the property in 2019 for around $400, and now it is worth around $700, $800 in the past 3 years. So that being said, I think it's fantastic that we were able to hold on to that property and let it appreciate so much, because now we have so many options of how we can leverage that equity. We can sell the property if we want to, which we probably won't ever do in the near future, but we could sell the property and get a huge chunk of cash out of it. We could do a cash out refinance and get some cash out of it. We could do a HELOC and get cash out of it. There are a lot of different ways that you can leverage the equity that you're building in your home or your rental property and get cash out of it to either pay for big expenses like pay off college debt or acquire new properties and use that money towards a down payment. Now, from a business standpoint, to me, it doesn't make a lot of sense that I made $50,000 and I only took home $2,500. Like, from a purely accounting standpoint, that's pretty bad, especially because I am looking to invest a lot of that money, that profit, back into the Airbnb. So like I said earlier, I repainted all the interior walls. I'm looking to xeriscape the backyard, which is a pretty expensive endeavor because of the supply chain issues. A lot of the supplies that you need to xeriscape are in short supply, and also labor is really, really expensive. So that $2,500 is not going very far. That's why starting in April, I am switching up my rental property strategy. Knowing what I know now, I personally am not sure if I'm going to continue on Airbnb because the operational expenses are so freaking high. However, I do have a tenant moving in for the next 6 months. It's a short-term lease, but like longer than Airbnb, which means that because this stay is longer than 30 consecutive days, I don't have to pay hotel occupancy tax. I don't have to pay utilities because the renter will pay that. I don't have to pay cleaning fees, trash fees, none of that because the renter is living there. So with that in mind, assuming I get $4,000 every single month for this rental property to lease out, that's $48,000 a year. And then the only expense that I will have that immediately comes out every single month is the mortgage, which is, like I said earlier, $30,000, which means that my take home, barring, you know, if there are any issues, if there's maintenance needed, if there are any repairs that need to be done, $18,000, which is much, much comfier to think about than $2,500. So that's kind of the gist of why Airbnb, although it sounds very attractive and it sounds super sexy to be like, I made $50,000 on Airbnb, that's not actually what I'm taking home. And I hope this video sheds a lot of light on that because Airbnb can be extremely expensive, especially in a city like Austin, Texas, where the hotel occupancy tax and labor fees are incredibly high. Although you can make a lot of money, you don't keep a lot of that money. But like I said, from a equity building standpoint, you are paying off your mortgage for that house that you own. So it is still a good thing. I don't at all consider my past 12 months on Airbnb as a failure because I paid off the mortgage every single month for 12 months. I built a year of equity, which is fantastic because as my realtor likes to tell me, Austin properties are appreciating approximately 15% every year. So it would be just like stupid of me to sell that property for any reason in the near future. Now, I don't know if I'll continue Airbnb anytime in the future. I'm really not sure, just based off of kind of my experience with hosting on Airbnb. I personally love hosting. I am a people person, and so I really do like hosting and interacting with guests and making sure that everyone has a great experience, but it is hard. There are a lot of instances that are very emotionally taxing. There are a lot of instances that are extremely time consuming. So that's just something to keep in mind, is that Airbnb hosting is not for everyone. Especially if you try to outsource a lot of it, you do lose a lot of control over the guest experience. So it really just depends on your individual situation. If you have any questions that maybe I can help to answer or provide some insight, definitely comment down below and let me know where your thoughts are. Do you own any properties? What questions do you have? Because I personally don't know anyone who does Airbnb, and so I walked into this like pretty blind. Obviously I did my research and watched YouTube videos and like researched a ton about like how to be a super host and that kind of thing, but I feel like it's just different hearing from someone who's gone through it in your market. So if you're an Austinite, if you're doing Airbnb, if you're thinking about doing Airbnb, let me know your questions. So yeah, to summarize, Airbnb is super expensive, and although I made a lot of money, I did not take home any of that money for the most part, which is why I am switching up my rental strategy and I'm doing short-term leases to tenants as opposed to doing Airbnb. I'm gonna make more videos in the future that are more financially focused because I personally think it's really interesting to see the numbers behind a business, and there's not a whole lot of transparency on the internet about exactly how much people make and how much they actually take home in profit. We had to take a brief intermission because I just got a package and the doggies started barking. If you want to see the perpetrator, he's right here. He's so guilty. So if you like this video and you want to see more rental property finance videos like this, passive income, that kind of thing, definitely let me know and give this video a thumbs up. But I definitely plan on making more of these finance focused rental property passive income videos in the future. So if you like that kind of thing, I would love it if you subscribed and stuck around, because I do upload a lot of videos regarding passive income, building a business, that kind of thing. But yeah, thanks all so much for watching and hearing all about my Airbnb endeavors for the past 12 months. I really hope you found it informative. But anyway, have a beautiful week and I'll see you in my next one. Bye.